Okay, so welcome to video number 2 of week 5. So we're going to do kumite, and we're going to carry on building on what we did in the previous videos. If you haven't done the kumite of the previous videos, then it might be worth just watching those again, just go back and visit those, so that you know what we're doing. Okay, so we're basically working on 4 different attacks, and we've numbered them 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we've talked about how to move on those attacks, how to move offline, how to move around, how to move away from your opponent. So now we're going to talk about the other side, so the defense from these kinds of attacks and what we might do to counteract if somebody was to attack with these kinds of techniques. And the combinations that we're doing, the 4 combinations that we're doing, are very common. Okay, they're very, very common attacks. So our response and reaction to these attacks should be instantaneous and sort of natural, without thinking too much. So we'll just go through each one very slowly, and we'll talk about the way we counteract it. And there's sort of 2 elements to any kind of defense of an attack, and the first one is to meet the attack, so to time the attack with your own attack. Okay, and the idea is that you get there first, or you deliver a technique that is more likely to score than what they're trying to do, and also in doing so you close the distance down. So you're hoping that by closing down the distance, that's going to mitigate their attack, and then you've judged the distance well enough for your attack to score. And this is a really important method of defense, and it's the adage of sometimes attack is the best form of defense, right? So it's very important that you can do this, and you do this in your sparring, whether you're practicing sparring for grading or you're practicing sparring for competitions. It doesn't really matter. So the first one was Kazamazuki, number 1. So we'll just do that 10 times just to get us into the feel of it, and then we'll discuss the time defense first. Okay. So come out. Okay. So 10 times Kazamazuki. So front hand jab. When he's trying to make space, distance across the floor, if you remember, and we need to pull our hand back immediately on impact and move away and offline from our opponent. Okay, so you can go sort of backwards, or you can switch legs. Okay, I'm gonna go for the switch leg version, but you can do either. Okay, so on your toes, remember we're moving on our toes, heels off the floor, try and move with an irregular rhythm, both with your hands and with your feet, then attacking from here, one and switch. Okay, so we're going in, 2, and moving away. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So that's number 1. So to counteract this attack with an attack of your own will be Gyakuzuki. Okay. So you'll need to use your imagination a little bit, of course. As my opponent attacks me with Kazamazuki, say they're attacking with their left hand, then we're going to move towards our opponent. So not away. When somebody wants to hit you, the temptation is to want to move away from the attack this way. Okay? But actually, we're going to go in with a Gyakuzuki. Okay, so the attack comes in, we push, and we go to meet them. We want this left hand up and across, this way, okay, to protect ourselves from that Kazamazuki. We're just tapping the punch. Think about where the punching arm is. just tapping that punch off to the side. Yep. Just enough so that it doesn't hit you. There's no need to knock the punch way over here, okay? Just here. At the same time as you go in, and you think about what we said with the attacks when we were doing this a couple of weeks ago, the timing of the punch in the foot is very important, and we don't need to worry about the back foot this time. The back foot can even stay where it is, but the timing of the punch on the front hand needs to be together, okay? So this blocking hand will be entirely dependent on how fast their Kazamazuki is. So the exact timing of this blocking hand will vary, but the timing of your punch and your foot will not, okay? So as we're going in, we're covering, timing it, and scoring, okay? I've noticed that I do the punch and I bring the hand straight back to my hip and my left hand up, okay? For Gyakuzuki, I would recommend this way. Okay, so one more time. So from here, remember, front foot and hand together. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and what's also important, again, something that is often forgotten is the speed of the punching hand has to be quick, okay? As fast as you can make that hand go, please, for the punch. Okay, let's try 5 with a little bit of movement, okay? And toes. 8. 9. 3. 4. Last one, kick. Hop! Aye! Okay, good. Hey. Okay, so we've done the time defense on a Kazami. Then the blocking count, we're not going to do blocking counters in the conventional sense, the obvious blocking counters, because they'll often be the same. You do the same block and the same punch, but you move away, okay? So from here, when the Kazamazuki comes in, be away, this way, in punch, and back. But we really shouldn't be using this at all, because as you can see, it's much slower than timing the attack, okay? So this kind of very basic move, block, counter punch, back. Yeah, don't try to avoid doing that. And then the only time that you would do that is if you misjudged your opponent, okay? If you misread the attack and they attacked sooner than you anticipated. So if they attacked sooner than you anticipated, then you would maybe not have time to go in. If you can see that to move towards our opponent, if we misjudge the attack, to move towards our opponent too late is going to be dangerous, because we might not get time to bring that hand up and we're moving closer to our opponent who's already started the attack. So the timed attack, you've got to get it right and you've got to be ready. And it's safer to move away if you don't. So if you do get it slightly wrong, then you maybe would just react by moving away, and you maybe follow up straight away with some kind of counter technique. This kind of block, move away and counter is obviously safer, and probably would be effective against lesser skilled opponents, but more talented, more experienced competitors, higher grade karateka, it probably wouldn't work, okay? So we need to be thinking about trying to eliminate that from our kumite. So when you get back into the dojo and you're sparring, try to eliminate this kind of basic step back, block and counter punch style of fighting, okay? So try to time it and go in. There's nothing wrong with blocking and moving away though, providing that what comes afterwards is something a little bit more, something that's a little bit more difficult for them to deal with, okay? So what we're going to do is, we're actually going to do a block with a moshigeri, back leg moshigeri, which is the same as number 3 on our attacks. Okay, so from here, we do it stationary first. So they come in with the Kazamazuki. Okay? So you're going to pull away, push away on the Kazamazuki, and block as you would this way. But instead of just the basic Yakuzuki, you're going to go around with the Moashigami, chew down, okay, and step forward. Okay. So it's a move away and then in with the Moashi. So from here, move away, in, Moashi. Okay. Let's do 3 more slowly. 3, 4, 5. Hey. Okay. Now you notice towards the end there, I was making the movement flow. This is important. So to do this technique properly at full speed, let me show you first. Hey. Let's do it one more time. Okay, so you can see that the kick has to be delivered on the bounce. So in training I often talk about doing things on the bounce, and what I mean by that is that when we go backwards and our foot hits the floor, we get that feeling. That feeling. And what it is jump, that feeling of jumping. Okay? And not settling. Okay, but going in. Okay? And that's what we need for this to work. Okay? So we need to go back, we block with our left hand, we go back, and it's balancing. Okay? And I'm balancing a little bit with 2 feet, which is fine. You'll notice that I'm also balancing a little bit with my front foot. That just feels better for me, but you don't have to. But from here, and go. Okay, so that's what we need to see. Okay, so try 5 times, full speed. 8. 9. 3. 4. 5. はい。はい。Okay. So let's move on. So number 2 technique is the Gakuzuki, Chudan Gakuzuki. So we'll do the technique first, and then we'll talk about the timed defense for a Gakuzuki, which is Gakuzuki. Okay. Remember, when we're attacking, we want to make sure we're moving both feet in, not keeping our back foot behind, okay? Okay, good. Okay, done that 5 times? Okay, great. So, next one. So the time counter is just Gakuzuki. Nothing really changes. And we don't worry about blocking, okay? It's very hard to block. We don't worry about blocking, we just try to beat them. So, we have a short stance, and we still do the Gakuzuki, okay? But don't forget, they're covering the distance. So, they've initiated the attack, and although we want to try to react as quickly as possible to their attack, we are going to be slightly behind them, okay? Because they're going to start. But actually, in some ways, we have the advantage because they're starting the attack. So usually you'd fight, you'd be at least kind of a meter, 3/4 of a meter to a meter apart from each other. And when they initiate the attack, then their intention is to cover that distance to reach you. So they have to cover the distance, and yes, they're punching as they're covering the distance, but they still need to travel that distance. We don't need to because we're defending, okay? So what we can do is we just modify the Gatsuki slightly, okay? So we still have a short stance, but now we don't move our back foot. We definitely don't move our back foot. And our aim is to get there fast. We still need to go in, so we can't punch like with our bum going back like this, or punching off to the side trying to avoid their punch. We still need to go straight down the middle. But when they punch, then we're going to go in and we're going to drop down and back. Okay? So as they go in, we drop in, get that hip in and go. Then all the principles we talked about stay the same. The hand has to hit the floor with the foot. Sorry, the hand has to hit the opponent. Let's say that your foot hits the floor. Okay? So, and this is hard because your foot's going a short distance. Okay? But we need to try. So let's try 5 times. Okay. Knee. Thumb. Sheep. Hop. Aye. Okay. Hey. That's very straightforward in that one. So a little bit more difficult now is the block encounter. So same thing as before. We want to be avoiding just doing a very basic move away block and gyakuzuki. Okay, so this kind of thing of going 1, 2, or 1, 2. Okay, we don't really want to do that. So if our intention is to counter with a gyakuzuki, then that gyakuzuki should be thrown on the attack. Yeah. So something a little bit more interesting. And maybe more difficult for them to block with is a racken. Okay, so we covered the racken in the last video. So if you've done the last video, then you've got the information that you need to do that. So we're going to just cover down with the ginamba, right? So as the gyakuzuki comes in, then we cover, but we don't really move away like this. Okay, but we do move our body away. So we pull back and left hand down, okay? So sticking my bum out, that's okay. Then at the same time, bring my right hand up preparation, okay? And I want to then be pushing in with a racken counter attack, okay? And you don't see a racken very often, but it will score if done correctly. Okay, so we want to stay close to our opponent. They're going to come in with the gyakuzuki. You're going to pull the target away, lots of space. And strike in. Okay. One of the things that's going to make this technique score is to make your racket as big as you can, contact where contact is allowed or acceptable, and to move away after the technique. Okay, so let's try 5 just doing this, and then we'll talk about how to move away. Okay, so from here, moving backwards, ich and striking knee, ich. Sorry, that was knee. Some. Shin. Okay, one more, full speed. Hop. Hey. Okay, so how to move away from this position. Easiest way to move away is with the back foot behind us. Okay, so we're going to go in. So blocking 1, strike 2. And from here, moving that back foot round to cover. Okay? 5 times. H. Knee. Sun. Okay, and also, like we've done on the last one there, you could also close down as well. And so you can in 1 and go into the clinch from that position. Okay, but you have to make the Irakan. If you're going for the clinch, you have to make the Irakan really big and really clear. Okay. Alright, that's it for 1 and 2. We'll talk about 3 and 4 in another video. Okay, how to counter those attacks. Well done. If you can, with kumite, practice. If there's anybody else in your household that does do karate, that you can train with, please do. If not, then if you have somebody that can hold pads, kick bags for you, so you can practice at least doing some pad work, or shadow spar, ask them to stay kind of stationary while you practice your techniques. That would be beneficial too. So please try to practice your kumite as much as you can given the situation. Okay. Alright, well done, feet together, great.